So let me know when you're ready.
All right, we are live. Hey, hi, Quynh. Thank you
Thank-
so much
Hi,
for
Chris.
thank you so much for coming online and sharing your experience on this topic of employee branding. It's quite a big topic that even includes employee experience and so many things, right? We are not gonna do a long conversation, so that you can continue to your marathon. Iron Man, I think you're doing it. So I just try to keep it short, 20 minutes. We're good with it. So why don't you introduce
Sure.
yourself a bit so that people get to know you and then what you're doing, and then we can get into the conversation.
Okay, hi Chris. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this topic about employer branding, which I'm very passionate about. I'm Quynh. I'm currently head of employer branding and communication in Home Credit Vietnam, and it's such a pleasure to share what I know and what I'm passionate about. And I think that this topic is what you also really like. So I hope I can bring to the table meaningful advice and sharings. And I also love to hear from you as well, Chris. And thank you for the opportunity to speak in the Labor Day. And I hope that everyone will enjoy this sharing.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, thank you. Sure. So tell me, you said you're very passionate, and I know you're very passionate, but
Mhm.
what's the
Yeah.
purpose? Why are you so passionate? What's the purpose of being passionate about this topic?
Yes. So in my personal experience, I've been always loved the area of people development and also human resources aspects. And I think that employer branding is also one of the very critical areas that right now, in the time where you can see that talent they have been we're having like a talent war, especially for tech and transformation talent, and everyone they're trying to find tap into this scarce resources. So that's why I think that employer branding is very important in order to help the companies and also business find the right talent that can help the business grow and develop great products and services for the customers. So that's why after a while, I decide to deep dive into employer branding and communication as well as engagement, because I think that that is an aspect that HR can contribute to business nowadays. Yeah. Mhm.
How do you connect the employer branding into employee experience, right? Because you also just mentioned
Mhm.
that also
Yeah.
engagement, which I think
Yeah.
ultimately we are seeking experience, right? So how do you connect these two things together?
Yeah, so let's talk first about the definitions of employer brand. So employer brand mean that is the reputation of the companies. So in order to build a reputation of the company around, so we have to be very emphasized on the values that the companies is bringing to the customer, to the employees. So you see, when we talk about values, that can be very broad abstract. So and one of it can be EVP, so employer value proposition. So what do you promise to the employee to bringing them to the organization? So that can be your career development, compensation benefit, great working environment, great leadership, and great cultures. So in that EVPs, which is the products that you can brand around. So that is how you can tell the stories for toward the employees and also for the candidates, and you share about what you have in the companies, and how it can you spread out the the values and really make the talent inspire in what you believe, inspired by your purpose, inspired by the products that you're doing, and inspired by the service. So how I think how is the employee experience engagement really connect to employer brandings is when like you cannot brand if you cannot really believe in the products or believe in the service. So same as the HR concept. So you cannot talk about how cool it is of your office, how cool the leadership is, but if really inside it's not, right? So that's why to have the employer branding really work, you have to build the core, values, the core products, which is you have to build your development for your employees. You have to have benchmark your compensation and benefit fairly with the market. You have to build a great working culture between team and managers, and you have the leadership team that really unite, that can uh, be also the ambassador for the company. So all of that, when you have the core, and then that, I think that is where the engagement experience comes. So because if you have to take care of the employees so that they can share about your companies, and employees is the ambassador and also one of the channel for you to spread the reputation of the companies. Yeah. And I think when we talk about employees and experience, we talk also the moment of truth, the moment that matter for the employees. So it's like for branding, and what my team does is that we are very focusing on the employee engagement, employee experience, the program. For example, we are building loyalty program that help the employee to stay in the companies, and it's across the sales and tax, and also we take care. We also look at how the generation gap will play in our loyalty program, and also we look at the tenures of our employees in order to define and tailor the program that meet with our talent segment. So all of that, we have to take a look at what is really meaningful to our employees, and we build the engagement, and whatever the moment that matter to them, we're there for them. And when we done the engagement, we start talking about the about the program online and in social media, and that is employer brand. Yeah.
Thank you. That's interesting. I want to go a bit to a practical thing that I observed you did one time very well, was the employee journey mapping. What do you think about that methodology? Do you think is it useful, or what's your thought about doing employee journey mapping?
Okay, so employee journey mapping is that where you map the employee journey. Let's take examples of yeah, a person who trying to find a new role, a new job, and they have to go through your onboarding and recruitment journey. So we are starting to mapping out, and I think that is a very useful methodologies and approach for employer branding professionals, and also employee engagement professional, to really look at how the people going through the journeys. For example, if you're looking for a new job, you would start Googling, like, okay, so maybe you are like a DevSecOps professionals. You start looking about job in DevSecOps area. So you type in Google DevSecOps, then the Google result will have to list out like maybe home credit at the very first search, right? So are we there yet? Or maybe one of the channels that of your choice is ITVid. So if you start looking for a job, you go to ITVid. Is home credit there, or is the company that you work with there? So basically, we're mapping out all the journey that the candidate can go through, and also that is a search, and then go through the recruitment, where when you actually meet the recruiter. So is it the recruiter that bring you very positive experience? Is that, do they reply to you if you talk about that you want to look for a job, or when you share with them the CV, will they follow up with you, or they ghosted you or leave you hanging? Yeah. So what I think what we do is that we map out each of the journeys, and we make sure that in the smallest moment, we take care of the small details, and make sure that the candidate experience is positive and good along the journey, so that whether they choose to work for us or not, they still feel positive, and they still think about us when they think that they want a new career opportunities. Yeah.
That's quite interesting. Do you see So, for example, when you're doing this practice, right, I assume you need to talk to a lot of candidates, to a lot of employees to collect some feedback so that you can understand what are the pain points or other things, right?
Mhm.
What's your mechanism there? Like, how do you talk to candidates? How do you talk to employees to
Mm.
collect
Okay.
information for the employee journey?
Yeah. For them to collect the information to I mean to refine our journey, we will talk with we will do like a candidate survey. So our talent acquisition team will do a candidate survey. We send out surveys to the candidate that we have interact and talk with, so that they can fill out and we can evaluate whether our service is good, or if is there any feedback that you want. And also we are all our talent acquisition team is on LinkedIn, so we can easily get feedback from the candidate or people who interact with us through the recruitment journey. And also we take feedback from employees as well. So especially the one that joined us like 2 months 2 months out, like after 2 months, like newly joined, or and also maybe 6 months. So we also invite them for talk and ask them about the feedback. If there is any pain point, is there anything that we can do better to improve the onboarding and also the integration journeys of them. So all of that we pack it together, and we are like continuously improve the journeys and also the experience of the employees and also the candidate. Yeah, and one of the interesting things is that we also take the ENPS surveys. Yeah, for all of our employees coming to the organization, we will do per 6 months we will have an ENPS survey, so that we can serve and we can survey about different aspects and different category. For example, work-life balance or managers, leadership team, purpose of communication, so that when we have the report, we can attract and we can see if if there is any concern or problem for that for our newly hired or people who join us less than 1 year. Yeah.
Do you think if a company that is an existing company, right, that
Mm-hmm.
has a high turnover rate, right, quite high turnover rate,
Mm-hmm.
despite that they have done company trips, they have done so many things, right, and they still have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of turnover rate, and they have
Yeah.
to do a lot of recruitment because they usually need to hire like, I don't know, a few hundred already, and then now that they have a high turnover rate, they have to hire hundreds
Mm-hmm.
or more people too, right?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
is it that you recommend for companies like this level, that what do they need to do to get things sorted so that they can at least fix the turnover issue at somehow and also start being able to recruit good quality people on a scale?
Yeah, so I think with companies, when you mention high turnover rate, it could be like different from company to companies. And also it depend on the industry that you're into. Because for tech company, I think tech company experience that a lot on high turnover, because for tech people they are more like looking for a cool new project that they want to join, and then after they finish they will looking for a new one. Yeah, so I think turnover rate is is I personally I think that it's not only the job of HR, but it should also be the job of everyone in the company. It's also from the leadership team and it's also from the employee side as well. So it takes two hands to clap, right? So here you have the companies, they're trying to do all the program to retain you, and also trying to have great feedback loops. But also the employees on another side, they to have to open and willing to share the feedback as well. Yeah. So I think that in order to reduce the turnover rate is a collaboration of all of the people and also the level that work in the organization. So I would take, for example, organization should like I think that in the annual plan, that what in you do, you can put like turnover rate as one of the KPI, like the hard KPI that manager especially even the leadership team has to be hold accountable, and that will be cascaded into different layer of management team, so that they, because the one that work with the employee the most are the line manager. So if you have a good line manager, a good strategy, good products, and there's I think no way that the employees can look for other opportunities. So your line manager is very like key, very key key stakeholders in retaining the employees. And also especially HR also need to have like a policies that is very tailored to the different employees segment. For example, tech, you have to understand who the tech people are and what do they need, and how you can retain them. And also sales as well, how you can keep the sales people, what is your bonus and what is your salary scheme in order to motivate them and work for you every single day. Yeah, so we have to have tailored policies. And in terms of the employees, so for the employees, use, I think that what the employees should really provide the managers and also the team as well with the good feedback, and and also some uh, like I said before, if the companies have like an ENPS survey, it's also a very good opportunity to really nail down what is the specific problem and how the team can work together to solve the problem and help retaining the employees. Yep.
Do you use any methodology to build the team? You mentioned like team experience or team purpose, all those activities. Do you follow any technique? How do you do it?
Mm. So I think I think one of the example that we have done, and you and I have already done before, which is the team charter, that we craft out the purpose of the team, and also it's just a SWOT, right? Just a SWOT, but it's for our own team. So we craft out the purpose of our team and what is the team's weakness, what is the team opportunities and strength, and also some the value that we uphold, and also some, some of maybe the internals and externals opportunities and threat. So I think that if you go through, I think one of the platform that we have done before, which is uh, um, Atlassian, and yeah, then we can see a lot of tips and also tools and also some methodologies that you can build and help bring to building the team engagement. But I think one point that you mentioned is very important, which is the purpose. So the purpose is, I think, is what really keep us awake every single day and start to work for. And in I'll take the example of Home Credit, which is the company I'm working for. So our purpose is to empower people to live the life that they want now. Yeah, and that is what is like a compass for us. So it's a compass for not only HR, but it's also branding, marketing, and the customer team. Because what we want is that we want to create a financial products that really serve the customer whenever they need, and it's through their channel of choice. Yeah. So how can we, as an HR and employer branding and employee engagement, can support is that we also translate the purpose into our team purpose and also our team's missions. Is that how we can empower our employees to work, to live the life that they want, and to enjoy the working environment that we are trying to build. Yeah, and from there from there we will design like an employee engagement plan that incorporate the plan of our customer team, the plan of our marketing and PR team, so that together as a whole we build the holistic plan that encourage and also advocate for our employee to share more on the products and also on the bride that they work for Home Credit. Yeah. So I think the purpose
Yeah,
is
that's quite
very key.
interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. I also shared some of the links in the YouTube so people can later follow up the techniques that you mentioned. Um,
Mhm.
So let's say there's a CTO or CIO, CDO is watching, and he or she is trying to hire hundreds of people, right? And
Mhm.
everything that you mentioned is kind of like, what is she talking about, right? So
Mhm.
how would you recommend for someone, that kind of person, to start taking action? And what are the
Mhm.
things that you say, hey, you need to do these things, go do these things, right? So
Yeah.
that you can actually start delivering a better experience for your employees or candidates.
Yeah. So I think that's first very important that you have to understand where we are right now. So where your team is and like your IT the department is. So do you guys have the engagement activities for the employee yet? Or how's your leadership team is interacting with each other and also managing your team? So you have to first analyze the current situation of your team. And then I think the second one is you start looking outward to see what other teams are doing in maybe other company are doing. The companies that are in the same industry or even outside of your industries, what they are doing, and even global companies, what they are doing and what they're very good at. And then you start comparing. You start to think, okay, here am I, and here like you start to picture the bigger picture that you want, where you want to be. So you will see the gap. You have to see the gap. That to take me to the North Star, what would it take for me and how long would it be? So just like what I think what just like what the development team or agile team is doing, you guys doing design thinking and all the scrums and the sprint, right? You can apply it for employee engagement as well. So you when you already see the gap, then you can break it down into different sprint or release, right? So, for example, if you have a high turnover rate, so it's a very big problem, but it can be done if you break it down into small steps, step by step at the same time, at different time. So maybe the first sprint will be reducing turnover by uplifting the capabilities of your management team or your senior manager. Yeah, and then you do it for 2 months, and it's break it down to sprint and into different courses, and the second release could be um, could be providing equipment or uplifting tool for your employees, things like that. So can break it down into smaller steps at the same time, and you can also test this as well. So if you test into the small and pilot into the small group, if it works, you scale it up. If it's not, then you just like you retrospective and find out what is you have done that is not working, and how can you do it better. Yeah. And then, yes, just like a sprint, you do it continuously. You test and try, and if you fail, you review it, and if you succeed, you scale it down, and you do it continuously. Then it will one day the North Star will be closer and closer, and you will reach it. And of course, the North Star is you have to keep it like you have to keep moving it up, right? Because the best practice is keep changing, so you cannot just put a fixed North Star. So I think the agile and also the sprint approach is very effective in terms of creating employee engagement program that that not only that it meet the best practice, but it's also help it's also involve your employees into the process, and you renew the program accordingly and appropriately. Yeah.
Thank you, Quynh.
And
Thanks
I
a
think
lot. Yeah.
yeah, and I think the approach is what you already know and what you are already expert. Maybe you're even better than I do, right, Chris? So what do
Yeah.
you think? What do you think? Because you're also the CIO as well. So what do you think is a suitable approach for the CIO or CTO in order to build a team engagement?
I'm not old-fashioned enough to be CIO, so I'm pretty modern. Yeah. I'm joking. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm like what you mentioned. I think to reiterate a few things that you mentioned is really interesting, right? Like start doing velocity, do the agile base, right? and use some problem-solving techniques like design thinking or customer journey mapping, team charter. These are really, really interesting methods. I think it works, right? But also I have some issues myself too, right? There are issues that comes and goes, that market is getting more and more difficult, more and more competitive. But I also believe in this old statement that people don't live organization, live leadership. I truly believe in that. And the other statement that organization becomes who the leader is, the culturally and everything. So a lot of times personally, I really try to make myself more and more role model, so that actually hoping the team, they can start having the culture that I think is good. So I try to implement those cultures myself personally first before I can get others to do it. I try. It doesn't mean I'll be successful. I fail a lot. But I also like the techniques of doing team charter or something like that. That mean we have to do that, but something that is purpose driven. I'm very, very passionate about anything that is from purpose, right? Anything that starts from purpose, even core values or anything. So I'm very against that companies that, or people that they design core values that without setting up a purpose. And something people then take it for granted. It's not purpose, it's a shared purpose. So if it's not shared, then it's not purpose. It's just some people's purpose. And I saw some people doing it like C-levels. They sit together and then they come up with a purpose for the whole organization, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm not a big fan of that. Then that's not shared purpose. That's just like C-level shared purpose. Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why if you remember, when we did it together for one of the company we worked, we did card sorting, we did dotted
Yeah.
voting, so to make sure that everybody's voice is heard and shared. Even though it didn't go where I wanted to go, but it's fine because at the end, I
Yes,
hope
we
it was
try.
shared, right? So
Yeah.
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 So I think purpose, right? I think leaders need to believe in that purpose first. It's okay to
Yeah.
play politics and all those things, fine. But as long as the purpose is the first priority, I think everything else can be fixed or can be improved. As long as you follow a methodology, whatever that
Yeah.
methodology is, as long as it's a methodology, not just something that we design or reinvent ourselves. That's my view.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned about the leadership. Leaders is also the very key in to keep and also to, as a reason for the employees to leave. So, so in your experience, uh, what have you done in order to improve the capabilities of your leadership teams and the team that report directly into you? Yeah.
Well, it's quite so this is the part. It's quite hard to pinpoint one or two things that we did to solve only this thing, right? Like sometimes we have to lay a lot of foundation so that we can see some results coming out. Like for
Yeah.
example, like one of the things that you mentioned is like learning and development, right? Like I recently when we were working with partner up with the tool Pluralsight. So we
Yeah.
launched Pluralsight, we designed role assessment. We work together even on doing role architecture or career path, which I had another talk with Premila on this TechTalks about specifically about role architecture topic, right? Employee value proposition. What's the career path? What is the progress? I think some of these things needs to be there. These are like, I call it foundation layers, right? You need to set up very good foundation layer with the career path, role architecture, and also learning and development. Where am I? What is my current situation? If I want to
Yeah.
go to that role, what am I missing? And how do I go there? Can you give me tools
Yeah.
and environment so I can go there? The other part is also giving the chance, right? So, for example, I used to have this very good mobile developer, iOS developer, but he wanted to lead a team. So we tried to get him to a lot of learnings. And then at some point we said, okay, now you have a big, for example, business banking, for example, tribe
Yeah.
to lead. So now it's your job. Go lead that all iOS
Yeah.
developers there. And a lot of people, I got under a lot of pressure. People are saying, oh, that person has never done it before. But sometimes you have to make a risk because I was never born as a leader too, right? So somebody make a
Yeah.
risk, give me the role. So I think
Yeah.
that's things that we should do more often. And it's okay to fail. And that's the most important thing that I have to keep telling to people, that it's okay to fail. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, a lot of organizations, they don't like it. They make a politics out of it as well. But it's okay to fail. Failure is a very great thing as long as there's a postmortem
Yeah.
analysis, there is a lesson learned out after that, a root cause analysis, lesson learned that doesn't become blaming game, then it's fine. It's
Yeah.
totally fine, right?
Yes. Yeah.
These are the things that I think I have done, and it works.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that to create a powerful employer branding, we need stories like what you share, right? Story that leader takes risk and also always trying to invest in the employee, trust in them and provide them with great career opportunities that they cannot find elsewhere. So we take the story from you and we also have to understand how the business is operating and how the business works. And from there we curate it into great stories and turn it into great and powerful story that you can see. We call it employer branding. So I think that the core, whatever it is, the core is very important. The leadership has to work together and also cascade the purpose and also the strategies and help the employee to understand and inspire by that. And from there, each of us become an ambassadors, and it's shared. We proud of companies, and we're proud of every moment that we're working every single day. And I think that is employer branding. So basically, it's not that complicated, right? Yeah.
Thanks a
Mhm.
lot, Quynh. I enjoyed
Mhm.
talking to you as usual.
Yeah.
I wish you a great Iron Man. Hope you don't get injured. And thank you so much for giving time on a Labor Day.
Thank you, Chris, for your sharing, and thank you for the opportunities to share on a topic that I always love to share about. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you so much. Hope
Yeah.
I can have you again on the show in the
Yeah.
near future. All right.
Wish you have a wonderful holidays
You
and also
too.
wish everyone have a great holiday as well. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Yeah.